Hey guys, welcome to Monday Night Team Flex Force Team Call. It's on team. I am super excited to be your presenter tonight on a topic I'm super passionate about. I don't think that this business has a secret sauce, but if there is a secret sauce, it is time management. So not everybody knows me. So I am Rachel Baldwin. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself as I start presenting. But time management has been just a way I still, as I've transitioned, which I'm going to talk about through different seasons of coaching, time management has made everything possible and now lets me enjoy every single part of coaching and my life, everything that coaching has brought my family and I. So I'm going to talk about that tonight. If you guys have questions as I'm talking, please utilize the chat. I'm going to try really hard to not talk really fast. I'm going to take a drink of water in between every slide, but I think that's awkward. But I do have a presentation because time is of the essence. Time is money. I think it's a really important topic because your time is worth something. Only you can determine. The glare is really bad on my glasses. Only you can determine how valuable your time is. And until you come to a point where you decide how valuable your time is, 1 hour equals what amount of dollars to you, is when, like, having that realization will create a harder work hustle out of you. I'm a firm believer in the fact that we fill the time that we have. It's amazing. I'm going to talk about my story with this, how much I could get done in 1 hour because that's all I had. And now that I have more time, because I do coaching full time, now I have found myself, especially at the beginning, I was doing the same amount of things, but taking all day because I had all day. And there still are times where I'm like, okay, I'm really busy. I have to follow a strict schedule today, and I can get so much done. Oh, somebody said they can't hear anything. Can other people hear me? Okay, good. You might just have to log out and log back in. Okay, good. I'm glad I am heard. I'm going to share my screen and just get started. I will not be able to see you while I'm sharing your screen, so feel free to use the chat. And if there are questions, I will go through them at the end. I love question answered. I think that's super important. Okay. I'm going to, can everyone see it like this? It's easier if I can see is this okay? It'll be big like this. No one is nodding, so I hope it's okay. Okay, so like I said, time management is not a sexy topic, but the freedom that time management can give us is super sexy. The results that you can get in your business, whether in any season of your life, is super sexy. So talking about time management is super boring, but I'm going to make it sound as sexy as possible because, like I said, the results of having time management is something so sexy. This is a huge part of why I attract the people I do to my team. They're pretty much all busy moms, but because I'm good at time management, don't get that twisted with Rachel's not a hot mess express. No, I am, but I do have time management when it comes to my business. I'm late for other events, but for my business, it's because I'm having time management with my business. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so a little bit about me. I've been a coach for 3.5 years. When I started, I was in the process I was engaged, so we were getting married. We were fixing up our house. So I hadn't moved into that house yet. Since then, we've moved twice. I started a new job. I was a new teacher. So moving into that classroom, huge transition there. I was actually student teaching at the time when I started coaching. So I was actually basically working a full-time job for free and then doing homework on top of it. So kind of similar to teachers now who are going for their master's degree. I felt like that's similar to student teaching. And then, like I said, we've moved twice. I've had a baby. He's not a baby anymore. He's 18 months. But up until last June, I worked full time and still had an awesome business, had a child at home. I did have a baby at one point. I did the new mom thing. I've, been super overwhelmed with that. And like just gone through all these different seasons of life. And actually, while I was still teaching full time, our team, Flex Force, locked in elite while I was still at my corporate America job. So when people say they don't have time, I'm like, ha, like managing a team of almost 700 coaches while I was pulling in Success Club higher than 50s on average. And, so rocking my own business and then managing a team, pushing everybody else forward, meaning that, we can't do elite, just me. So it was everybody, a team collectively, and I was overseeing that while I was working full time. So when people say they don't have time, I'm like, try me. Like I said, we've moved twice. That's always people's excuse. So I'm a firm believer in the fact that we fill the time that we have. It would have been really easy for me with all these transitions. Like I was a very overwhelmed new mom. I really struggled with postpartum anxiety. It would have been very easy for me to shut down coaching and say like, I can't do it right now. And I do love that about coaching, that it can be whatever you need it to be for different seasons of your life. But please don't get this twisted. I have never not shown up for my business even when it was hard. I made it work because of time management and because I knew that starting and stopping would not get me to my end goal. And when I got into coaching, it was not my goal to leave my job. I have on the side here, I actually replaced my teaching income about a year into the business, a little more than a year. And like, I legitimately chose to keep working, because I wanted to, I didn't have to. We had other goals and stuff, so I continued to work, but I had already matched that income. So at that point, everything else was like kind of like gravy, I guess. That's a weird expression, but, so I was still able to grow to a 6-figure a year income with just Beachbody alone, 3 years into my business, less than 3 years into my business. And whilst, guys, like, let me bring that home, I literally chose to be at my 9 to 5. And I was a teacher, full-time teacher, special ed teacher. And I still could have made it work this year, but I just felt like that's a different story for a different day. I wanted then my dream became to be home. And because I had worked so hard, I was able to do that. But that was not my goal when I got in. I just wanted a part-time hustle. So it's awesome that this could be a part-time hustle that brings you a full-time income, So time management is a skill. So a skill is defined as the ability to do something well or having expertise in. So a skill takes practice, right? If you're a skilled basketball player, just like always pick the most random things. You don't just some people have like natural talent. Sure, some people have natural talent in time management, but you're going to say like you can't practice something really well or really hard and get good at it. No, if you practice something really hard, anybody can get good at a skill. Time management is a skill. Time management is defined as the ability to use one's time effectively or productively, especially at work. So I became a boss at this because when I was teaching full time, I built my 6-figure a year business working at the end 2 to 3 hours. I'm going to say 1 to 3 hours a day because that's all I had. That's legitimately all I had. And I continued living my life. If we had Scott's family and my family live very close, we do a lot of stuff with our families, like on the weekends and stuff. And if stuff's going on, like I never was like, I have to stay home and work. There were a couple times like if it was like a soccer game or something, I would just say to Scott, like, I'm going to stay and work a little bit. But I'm being serious in the fact that I built a 6-figure a year business working 1 to 3 hours a day. So I'm going to give you my tips on things to do and not to do, okay? First thing, multitasking is bad. Every society paints multitasking as like a superpower. Like, I'm multitasking, and that is like, the connotation is that's a good thing. It's not. I'm going to give you a really good analogy, okay? I love analogies. My team knows this about me. So, and maybe some of you guys have heard this analogy before. I've done a little brief training of time management in Beachbody Champs. This is not that. That is an overview. This is like down in the trenches. Like, I'm going to give you things to do and not to do. So, but I did give this analogy because it's really good. So how many of you guys are moms that are on this call? Raise your hand. How many of you guys Okay, like no one's participating. Okay, I can see some of you guys. So anyways, if you're, whatever, you can still like relate to this analogy. So if you've ever been cleaning your house where you live, have you ever like looked, you're like, so you're vacuuming and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to stop vacuuming, the kids' shit's everywhere. I gotta pick that up. And then you're like, oh my gosh, the blankets, they're all over the this. I'm just like using my own house, like maybe other people can do this, but the blankets are everywhere. Oh, and then you're like, you look in the kitchen, you're like, oh my gosh, look at the island, like the bar area, like no dishes are taken care of. So you start to do that a little bit and you're like, oh my gosh, now I gotta wipe down these counters. Like you have not finished the dishes. So you start to do that. Okay, so now you've done, if you look around, what have you accomplished in your house? Let's say that you did that for 30 minutes. You've accomplished jack shit. So instead of doing a little bit of everything, you want to do one task start to finish, just like cleaning your house. Like if you're vacuuming, just vacuum and then worry about the kids' toy. Well, probably kids' toys and vacuum, but you know what I mean? So it's the same thing in your business. You need to do, just in life, this is just a life tip, to do everything, one task start to finish, at least your version of start to finish. You want to do all of one task at once and then move on to the next task. If you're starting and stopping things, like if you're like, okay, I'm going to send out an invite. Now I'm going to answer my messages. Messages are coming in. And then, oh, I just remembered I need to check in with Becky. I need to follow up with her. You're getting nothing done. You are like grasping at straws. You're going to feel so burnt out in 30 minutes and you will have felt like you accomplished nothing because you accomplished nothing. Whereas if in 30 minutes, you would not believe how many invites I can get out in 30 minutes. I bet it's 100. I've never timed myself because I don't typically do invites for 30 minutes because I can do so many now. This time, if you take nothing else from this, that's not true. I'm going to say that again later, but write that down. Like you need to do all of one task, start to finish. Don't be jumping all over the place. So here are my, like examples of working in Power Pockets too. So if you have 15 minutes, like, so when I was at work, I'd have a 30-minute lunch. It's really like 25 minutes. So I had like go to the bathroom, grab my lunch, warm it up, and I'd sit at my desk and eat because the staff lounge is a toxic place anyways, especially if you're a sped teacher. So I would just eat in my room. And so in 15 minutes, I mean, these are messages like, hey girl messages, new follower, that's new messages, whatever. So I'm doing all my invites, like getting them out. Not everyone's going to respond to my invites. So I'm shooting out to see who's going to, like respond with me. I'm not drinking after every slide here. So let's say my 15 minutes is up. Okay. Awesome. That's great. Power Pocket check, because I just got all my inviting done for the day. Like that's what I want you to do with Power Pockets, is to start to finish one task and then be done. Unless it's a really big task and you need to revisit it more than one time, but get it off so you can check it off your list. That is so satisfying to be able to check things off a list or throw that Post-it note away, whatever. So maybe that's one Power Pockets, 15 minutes, just invites. Next one is new messages, 15 minutes. I do new followers, people who are liking, commenting, watching my stories, sending out those new messages. 15 minutes, crank them out. Don't overthink it, just reach out. And then follow-ups. And you can do these 3 things in any order, but these are where you need to start in your business, is invites, new messages, and follow-ups. And I'm going to talk more about that. So follow-ups take me a little bit longer. I'm getting kind of away from doing them every day, but it's a different story for a different day. But you have to be using some sort of tracking system. If you're not using some sort of tracking system, you are losing money. People are falling through the cracks. Again, this is a training for a different day, but you're literally throwing money out the car window is like what I think of it, if you're not using a tracking system. So get on board with tracking and just do all of that, start to finish. You're not going back and inviting people. You're not sending out new messages. You're not answering your messages. Do you see answering messages on this list? No. So you shouldn't be answering messages until you've got these 3 things off your task list. And again, they don't need to be all at once. It doesn't need to be, this is maybe an hour put together. Does it need to be? And maybe it would, like, it does not take me 15 minutes to send out my invites. Like and keep in mind at the beginning, it's going to take you a little bit longer and it's going to feel more awkward. Meg talked about this on the National Wake Up Call today. When you start something new, it's going to feel awkward, but with practice, that's a skill, you will get better and more efficient at it the more that you do it, and then it will become natural. Like for me, I'm not joking. I really think I could send out 100 invites in 30 minutes, or what did I say, an hour, 30 minutes? I could do it in 30 minutes. So pay attention to what's on this list, okay? I'm going to give you awesome tips, tangible tips that you're going to write down or screenshot from this presentation to put into effect now to stop from getting burnt out and to get you to your goals. It hurts my soul when my girls tell me that they have been working 2 hours a day and that they invited 5 people in that day. I'm like, what? No, then we're doing it wrong. So here we are with the training, because I want you to use your time super effectively so you can get the biggest bang for your buck, because your time is money. So, number 1, stop following coaches. I do not want, after this presentation, to get a bunch of follows from people watching this presentation because you're like inspired or whatever. No, you are allowed to follow 2 coaches. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do, but I think it's important that you follow, if your direct coach is working the business, I think it's important that you follow them so that you can kind of just stay in tune, because you join them for a reason. And you probably want to, and just get ideas. You're very closely related probably in niche. So I think it's important that you follow your coach, and maybe you have a friend or 2 in the business, but everybody is guilty of this. I do not follow other coaches. I don't follow the coaches on my team unless they're baby new and they need me to mentor them. And then I really just check in from time to time, but it will suck you in. I have a bunch of friends in this business. Like I adore them. They're my friends. I do not follow them because they do a lot of stories, and it's easy to get sucked in. And then it's easy to compare, and comparing is a joy stealer. If you have another friend who you follow, you have to make sure that you're not competitive with them, because it will steal the joy from you. I mean, I have friends in this business that I do feel competitive with them, and when they're have awesome stuff happening in their business, you're not genuinely happy for them without feeling like I should be doing that. Then you need to rearrange. I cry inside when coaches tell me that they're following me for inspiration. No, that's a bunch of crap. This is gonna be kind of a tough look. Sorry, I'm gonna go toasty here. That's like crap. You can't be following a bunch of coaches for inspiration, because you're gonna lose yourself. And I'm speaking from experience. I also learned pretty early on that to follow a bunch of coaches, I was going to not be able to stay in my own lane. I would go to their pages once in a while. I mean, there's a search bar, guys, so use the search bar, and I would go there if I needed to see, when I started, Anita Meyer was top coach, and she's local to me. I'm like, how's Anita talking about recruiting? I would go check it out. But if you're following them, you're going to get sucked in because you naturally look up to them. When new coaches coaches tell me that they saw my training on Champs and they're following me because they're inspired, I want to say, please unfollow me, but that sounds really mean, and I'm not going to do that. I'm like, good for you, girl. But you're not going to be, you want to be careful, because if you're a new coach, I've been in the business for 3.5 years, going through all of these seasons of life, and I've never not shown up for myself. Some people think that's not relatable. Some people think my fitness journey isn't relatable, of being a C-section mom with abs again. You have to really be careful of that. So I'm going to really challenge you. If you follow a bunch of coaches, go unfollow them right now. Besides your coach and probably your success partner, is really the amount of coaches that you should be following. That's all I follow is my success partner, and my coach doesn't work the business. So I follow, like, legitimately, I follow 2 coaches. Like I said, I will go, like, if I'm laying in bed, I'm like really good friends with Janie Ennis. We do not follow each other on Instagram because I get stuffed into her stories all day long because I think we're friends, but I could get sucked into her stories all day long. That's not moving my business forward. Janie's Instagram stories is not moving my business forward. So I don't follow. I just watch them if I have spare time, like in bed before I'm going to sleep, Okay. Because the fastest way to kill something special is to compare it to something else. Your business is something special. Please, please, please stop comparing it to other people. Nobody else's business is your business. Literally. Number 2, stop answering messages on the fly. If you're on my team, then you've heard me say this about 75,000 times, but people still do it. I did it at the beginning. Maybe raise your hand if you've ever answered messages on the fly. Oh yeah, like everyone's hand should be raised because it's natural especially when you're new, because you're excited. You are you want that first sale. Like, it's exciting, but it's not sexy. In fact, it's actually really salesy to answer messages on the fly. And I'm going to give you a couple of reasons. If you've heard one of my trainings before, you've heard this, it's not going to change it. But there's a statistic or something out there. I make up statistics like every second of every day, but there is actually a statistic that people need to hear something like 5 to 8 times before they like believe it or it sinks in. So I hope some of you guys are on number 5 or 8. It is super salesy if you are answering people's messages on the fly because it makes you look desperado for their $40. You are not desperado for $40, I promise. Okay. And you don't want to that's what everybody says. They don't want to be salesy. Then don't answer messages on the fly. Okay. And if you're if you're wanting to build a team, you do not want to show the universe and be showing your prospects that your hands are glued to your phone 24/7. That is not sexy. Other people do not want to join this business. No one is coming to me like, Rachel, I want to build a business and be on my phone all day. No one has ever said that to me. No, that's not sexy. People want to build a business so they can have more freedom with their family. Freedom does not look like this. It does not look like that. Okay? So don't give people that illusion, because then people who are asking you all these zillion questions and you're answering them right away. First of all, you have then told people that you don't have business hours, you are at their beck and call, and then they're going to be like, well, great, thanks for answering all my messages, but I sure as hell never want to do what you do. No, thank you. Okay, so stop answering messages on the fly. It goes back to that time management tip that you're not going to be doing all of one thing at one time. You will, after this, if you don't already, you will be scheduling a time where you answer all of your messages at once. Because every time that you're going to an app and responding to one message, you're wasting seconds, and seconds add to minutes, and minutes add to hours. I mean, that's just that seems dramatic, but it's a huge waste of time. Huge. I already said that. And it doesn't put stock in your business. It doesn't make your business look like a business. When I email businesses on the weekends, if I'm working on a Saturday morning, they don't email me back. They don't work on Saturdays. So if people email me on the week, like on my day off, I don't respond to them. They can wait until I'm back in my office, which is right here. And no one will want to join your team. That seems mean, but I'm curious. Okay. Number three, just do your crap. Guys, don't be distracted by the time wasters. It is a distracting world out there. I want to talk about it. Okay? Get the crap done that needs to get done to move your business forward. There are things that will move your business forward and things that will not. So think about that. Will this move my business forward? And do not argue with me about answering messages, moving your business forward. They're already in motion. It's fine. You need to keep moving your business forward. Okay. I will win that argument all day, every day. So that looks like invites, follow-ups, messaging new likes and followers. And then, this is kind of stuff, sorry. Then last is responding to messages. Notice that's last. It needs to stay last because your other stuff won't get done because people will then respond to your responses and your inbox will fill up again. It is a cycle, and it's okay if people wait 24 hours. It's okay. On the weekend, people wait 48 hours from me, and it's okay. I try to set aside two little power pockets of time where I can answer messages, and sometimes that happens, and sometimes it doesn't. And they are all still breathing, as far as I know. Then, if you have extra time, then you can do things like check the team page, watch other people's stories. Post in your challenge group. Post in your challenge group should probably be like at the top, and watching other people's stories should be last, but it's not in order. So seriously, stop doing the crap that doesn't matter. Stop looking for the perfect training that will give you all the magical ponies and unicorns. It doesn't exist. I mean, it's like, sounds so stupid, but it's so true. Every coach who's been in the top 10 will just tell you, just do the vitals, do your crap. If you're doing a training, any training, I don't give a shit if it's paid or not paid. Do one and do it start to finish. Don't go like half in. And then people tell me this all the time. They're like, I did XYZ training, Rachel, I know you did it and it worked really well for you, but you must just have that secret sauce because it just didn't work for me. And I'm like, well, did you do this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, that was part of the training. And I did it. So, like, go all in, do all of the parts. I mean, it's designed that way for a reason. People got results from the training or whatever. So if you want the results, it's just like our programs. If clients look at before and after picture that a coach, like got shredded, like from Lift 4, and they're like, I want those results. Like, I look like that before picture. I want those after results. But I'm not going to do all the workouts, and definitely don't want Shakeology, but I still want those results. If you would say, you're crazy. So it's the same thing with trainings and doing your crap every day. Do your vitals. Don't get distracted by the shiny objects. Okay. So here's some extra tips. Find the joy in the parts of the business that don't necessarily bring you joy, okay? Make things a game. Like, if you have 15 minutes, make it a competition with yourself. If you're competitive with yourself, how many new messages you can send out, and then try to beat your score the next day, do things like set a timer and see how many you can get in and challenge yourself. And then do some mindless activities while you're multitasking. Like, my husband and I love reality crap TV. It's mindless. Like, I don't need to pay attention. There's no storyline. They're all just drunk all the time. It doesn't matter what the reality show is. And so I can send new messages. I can send thank you messages for people watching my stories while we're watching that. Or I can edit photos while we're watching that. But I'm still spending quality time with my husband. This sounds kind of weird, but we have that agreement. Find some things that work for you while you sleep. So this might look like, I've talked with a couple of my rock stars about doing this. Sometimes it takes a little bit of front loading and taking a little bit of extra time, maybe on the weekends when you have a little bit more time, but get organized. So do things, you want to get your stuff in order. So on your Instagram profile, you want to have in your link, you probably have a link tree. Most people do. Please, please, please. I just feel like I need to say this because I see it way more than I should. Please don't have your Beachbody link on there. People will not click it. Have a place for forms to collect interest. It looks super legit to have a form, and when you call it an application, that is legit. Other companies, they don't have you're not applying to get their whatever, XYZ, okay? Have one for your boot camp and for joining your team if you're trying to grow a team, which I assume you are if you're here. And so that's on your Instagram profile. And then on Facebook, these are things that work while you sleep. So in your challenge group, if you're well, okay, I have myself. So if you're doing a coach sneak peek, a group on Facebook, you can link that to your current challenge group, boot camp, virtual gym, whatever you call it. You can link that. So then they see that up at the top. Somebody might click that while you're sleeping. You didn't even have to send an invite to them. They're curious what that is. And then maybe they become your next coach. I've done that before. One of my diamonds totally joined that way. Danielle totally joined that way. And on Facebook, again, with your profile picture and your cover photo, have some sort of information, and you can link those forms. You can use other forms too, like some people like Typeform or Wufoo forms, doesn't matter what you use. But you can have a link to those, like when people click your Facebook cover photo or your profile picture, so that people like know where they can get more information. They know what you have to offer. Those are things that work for you while you sleep. It's time to get efficient AF, okay? Use my little hacks. Like I hope they seem really simple, but they save time. I have a couple more tips, I promise, with this. So these are some more of my little hacks to save time. All these other ones too. You guys, if you seriously, I promise, I hope everybody is unfollowing all the coaches you're following. I guarantee that's where you're spending way too much time, is following coaches and watching their stories, because it's easy to get sucked in. I get it. I've done it. Okay. So save yourself some time. If you're not using scripts / conversation guides, whatever you want to call them, you're missing out, because the way you run your challenge group, boot camps, virtual gym, whatever you want to call it, that doesn't change. So the way that you're talking about it, to people, that doesn't need to change either. If I typed out every single response, like, that's a huge waste of time. Shakeology's formula, it doesn't change. 80-day obsession, it doesn't change. So why does the way I type it out once, okay? And then use that conversation guide when you're talking to prospects. If you don't have one, I guarantee your coach does. Okay, this is what somebody else nicknamed donut texting, and we just adopted it, which I already had this made, but donut texting is built into Instagram now. But if you're not solely using Instagram, you can use donut texting. I have the directions for setting it up. And what it is it basically creates a shortcut. If I were to type out donut, it could type up it would populate in a text or anywhere on my phone this huge long thing, whatever part of the script that I wanted. So I have this for all different chunks of my script. I have it for all of my follow-ups. So I type in like FU1, and it's a little bit therapeutic, I'm not gonna lie, FU1 through 7, and then that populates what I need it to say. This is built into Instagram now. I'm sure somebody's putting it in the chat, but it's kind of obvious like what it's called, but that just like kind of came out super recently. I already had this made, but you can have it if you're using Facebook still too. Set up your donut texting. This is one of those things that's going to take you a couple minutes to set it up. It really doesn't take that long, and then it's going to save you so much time. I was still doing like copy and paste from conversation guides, but on Instagram, so I'm having to go back to my conversation guide and like my Google Docs app and then paste it into Instagram. Like, that's a waste of time. Going back and forth, it's a waste of time. Instead, I can type vids with 2 S's, and all of the links for the programs I think they would love come up. Like, that took a millisecond versus going back and forth and like clicking on the wrong app. It's a huge waste of time. Okay. And then the last step is create a schedule and stick to it. It does not have to look the same every day. But, sorry, I always like really needs to do this. But write it down. Use Google Calendar, use your own planner. Doesn't matter. Get organized and stick to your schedule. If you tell yourself that you're giving yourself 20 minutes at lunch to do as many invites as you can, then do it. But like, nobody can hold your hand or tell somebody that you want them to hold you accountable. Like Meg said on the National Wake Up Call, she tells her husband, like, I have to get these 5 whatever done in the next 10 minutes before I want to go do family stuff. Make sure I get this done. Because at the end of the day, you need to do your crap to move your business forward. Does not need to take a long time. I promise. I've done it. Not done it. No, not taking them. Obviously, you need to do your vitals. You have no business doing this business if you aren't doing your own work on yourself. I just feel like that needs to be said. Okay. And that's it. That's my little presentation. Jennifer, on some Androids, it's not set up donut texting, but now you can just do it directly on Instagram. So that should be helpful. So I'm going to go through this really quick. Okay, this is a great question. Do I tell Scott / my family when I'm wanting to set aside time to do some work on the weekends? I do, as long as we don't have things going on. Like if we have plans, then that's kind of our agreement, but I tell him he knows I have a coffee chat with my leaders Saturday mornings during morning nap time. And so he kind of knows that that's my time. We don't really do anything, and we make sure we don't do anything during that time. He's pretty respectful of that, but then I'm respectful back that when I'm not working, I'm not on my phone really. Besides maybe doing an Instagram story. We were at dinner tonight and I wasn't on my phone, so, but being said, then when I'm working, because then I want to go enjoy the other stuff, but my business needs to be moved forward. Okay. It is definitely a skill which needs practice to stay on task. It is not, no one said it won't happen overnight. It has to be practice. Give you, there's nothing wrong with rewarding yourself, so I did this, I was teaching, I'm an Amazon, or I don't know a nice way of saying that. I'm obsessed with Amazon. So what I would do is I would want to get distracted, especially we're on our computers, I get it. So then when I was no, I have to, I'd make it a game. Can I get all this done by 9:20? Kids don't come in till 9:30, and I have 10 minutes to look up whatever I wanted to look up on Amazon. Just reward yourself. Get silly. It doesn't need to be you give yourself candy or something, and I know it sounds weird, but it worked for me. You have to find what works for you, but at the end of the day, you have to get your stuff done if you want to move your business forward. And I was joking with some of the leaders on my team, find, I'm not going to say it on here, that would be really inappropriate, but find ways that you're productive. I'm just going to say it. I won't say it as bad as I did. Okay, I'm a mom, so if I go to the bathroom by myself, I'm going to be in there for a couple minutes, I create good content in there because I'm alone, or I'm that's where I know that I can create good content for my posts. And so I use that time. I have my notes app on my phone, not here. It's kind of embarrassing, but it works for me, so I can start to finish. And I'm okay, I'm good. I just thought of 4 posts and I'm going to go to the bathroom a bunch more times today, How do I set a specific amount of time for invites? Say not all of your combos are there yet. So if you have someone you want to invite, just do it. Just don't overthink it. Just get to the invite. Your invite, if you haven't watched Meg's National Wake Up Call today, you need to. It does not need to be chat, get to an invite. Just do the PB&J invites. That's basically how my invites have looked for a while. We call them a cheerleader message on my team, but it is an invite. And it doesn't need to be awkward, Agree. Scrolling on Instagram and Facebook is not an income producing activity. So they're called IPAs, which I think is funny because my husband loves IPA beer. He had one at dinner actually. But so you have to think, what are your income producing activities? Your IPAs. Those are the things you need to get done first, not your NIPAs or something. Non-income producing activities. It's from a book. I didn't make that up. Good, Jennifer, put your phone away. That's awesome. It was becoming stressful and overwhelming. Yeah, and then you're doing neither of your jobs well. And I do that now with my son too. If I was momming and trying to coach, they would both suck. And I've done it where I've accidentally opened a message and then felt like I needed to respond because I would forget about it. And it was a half-assed response. And she actually got really pissed about my response. And I told her, like, I'm sorry, I was just momming. And that's a whole different story. But because then I wasn't paying attention to Leo and I wasn't paying attention to a prospect with 100%. And who gets burned in that situation is yourself. You will get burned out and burned like I did. So don't do that. Just be all in on whatever it is you're doing. So when I was teaching, bell would ring, phone away. There's no choice. Like, and I taught special education. It's not like I can say, like, guys, do this for 10 minutes by yourself. Like, it's go time. And then when I had 10 minutes, you will get so much faster at everything when you only have 10 minutes. Like when I would have, like after I got all my lunch and went to the bathroom and all that stuff, like really had like 15, maybe 20 minutes. Like I can do a lot of stuff in 20 minutes now. Not right away. It was awkward, but it takes practice. Lots of questions about invites. So guys, make sure you watch Meg's National Wake Up Call today. Meg Wazowski, I can't say your last name. What's a good way to introduce yourself to new followers? Yeah, I kind of do the same thing as the PB&J invite from today. Is I just send them like a message like, hey girl, I just want to say thank you so much for the follow. I love connecting with other people on social media, and then ask a question so that they can have something to respond to. Love it. Everyone's like, please use scripts, save them in your notes, save them in whatever, but then set up the donut texting. I'm serious. It's such a time saver. You think you're not wasting a lot of time going back and forth, like even to your notes on your phone, I promise you're wasting time. Got to check out donut texting. It's so funny that it's called that. So I didn't create it or think of it. Another coach did, but donut texting is not an app. It's in your settings. I'll make this bigger and you guys can take a screenshot of this, of the ways of how to set this up. You can like take a picture if you need to. This is how you set up donut texting on an iPhone. I don't think it works on every Android. I think it works on some. But like I said, it is a setting just within Instagram now. It's like quick keys, quick replies, I think is what it's called. I don't need to set it up because I already have my donut texting set up. It's the exact same thing. Okay. Okay. Stop share. Here we go. Okay. Yes, Poop Productions. Saving time checking in with current clients, challengers, and coaches. Yes. So if you're checking in with them, let's say you're checking in with people on Facebook, guys, you do not need to handcraft a message to each individual person. Send a generic check-in. If you do a voice memo, a little box next to the voice memo will appear with an arrow coming out of it. It means forward. If you click it, you can forward it to as many people as you want. It will save you so much time, I promise. Okay? So on Instagram, and that's probably how or on Facebook, it's probably how you're doing it. That's where you run your challenge groups. Oh, thanks. Do I invite people watching my stories? Absolutely. Those are the top people I invite. Okay, cool. I think I answered everybody's questions. The invites, you guys I'll hear a lot of things about the invites. Like I'm gonna say, like you probably didn't watch Meg's National Wake Up Call today. Like, it doesn't need to be, inviting is one of my favorite things to do in this business now, because I made it fun and I made it so I can relate to people and I can connect with them. It's not gross to me. I've been invited in a gross way and you don't want to respond. Like, we've all been there. So find a way to make it fun. If you haven't listened to the National Wake Up Call from today, please go listen to it on the Beachbody 411 page, or download it from the podcast or whatever. You have any recommendations on how to follow the right people on Instagram? As a long answer, so my answer is going to be organically to go to the Beachbody Champions page and search Jen Richardson, 2 N's, Jenn, and she has an amazing system, which is what other people like pay systems to do for them. You can do it organically. It's just going to take you more time. So you need to do that as part of your Power Pockets. Again, it's kind of mindless. Essentially, you're going to go into bigger accounts that are similar to you and find people who look, think, act like you, and click follow in hopes that they will follow you back. Something great, agree with Stephanie, to do while you're in bed. And this trumps watching other people's stories, okay? So that's the meat of what I wanted to say. Same as searching hashtag, which agree with Steph. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Like I said, time management, not a sexy topic. Kind of boring, kind of like don't really want to. It's not a super fun skill to practice, but you guys, I promise, it changes everything when you master time management. I'm home full time with my son, and a couple days a week he goes to daycare. It's another story for a different day with my mother-in-law. But so today I did not have Leo here, and so I could work all day, but I don't want to. So I got all of my work done. Also cleaned the house and organized some other stuff I think I worked for 4 hours, and like I did a ton of stuff and like extra stuff, like extra training stuff. I'm doing a huge push group for my downline, like all of my crap, everything. I manage a big team. And I was getting this ready and stuff, like everything. I was still able to do that in a short amount of time because I've really disciplined myself. So I saw somebody put in there, where do you learn about creating forms? Literally Google it. Google how to create a Google form and it will come up. YouTube it. Guys, when in doubt, YouTube, Google, they're your BFFs. I built my business with YouTube and FAQs, and our FAQs are amazing, by the way. If you don't think they're amazing, they are. And Google. Okay, I promise. It's super easy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I enjoyed presenting it, even though it's boring. It's, like I said, the results of time management is super, super, super sexy. So take these. You have to put them into action. If you pair this with Meg's Peanut Butter and Jelly Invite, you will be unstoppable. But you have to do it consistently over time. If you do all of these tips tomorrow and you're like, WTF, I'm not at Success Club 200. Like, no, you have to do these things consistently over time to get the results that you want to see in your business, because that is the secret sauce. Being diligent, showing up every day, and whatever that looks like for your work schedule, being consistent, showing up, giving it time. Okay. That's what I have for you guys. Thanks for hopping on.